Is a high deductible health plan right for you? What is a high deductible health plan and how does it work? Well, let's explore. Hi everyone, it's your girl Kerwin back with another video. Welcome back to my channel. HDHP, high deductible health plan. It has a higher deductible than a traditional health plan. What that means, you pay out of pocket before you have to reach a certain dollar amount before the plan will begin to pay. Usually you have a certain dollar amount that you have to meet. Once you get to that dollar amount, the plan will cover 80%. You would cover 20%, and there's another level. Once you meet that level, the plan will then cover 100%, and you have zero out-of-pocket cost. Some saving tips for a high deductible health plan. So a high deductible health plan will cover your preventive screening at no cost to you, where you don't have to meet the deductible to get those services. What that means is your preventive screening, going to the doctor, getting an annual physical exam, getting a mammogram if you're at the age for the ladies, getting a pap smear while women exam, getting a flu shot for the guy, maybe a prostate exam. Those services are preventive screening and they are covered at no cost, and you do not have to meet that deductible to get those services. Another thing with a high deductible health plan, it is the only health plan that is you can match with a health savings account, an HSA account. That is the only health plan that can be matched with a health savings account. I did a prior video where I talked about what a health savings account was. Like a health savings account is money that you save for medical expenses, such as your co-insurance, medical expenses, prescription drugs. You can use it for dental care, even vision care. So the high deductible health plan is the only plan that you can pair with an HSA account, the health savings account. Now, you can also contribute towards an HSA account. Your contribution, whatever money you contribute to the HSA account, it does lower your income, your taxable income, and your contribution is tax free. So, and remember from my prior video, an HSA account belongs to the employee. It does not belong to the employer. So whatever money you have in the HSA account, it is yours to keep. Even if you leave the plan, even if you leave the employer, whatever money you have in that account, it is yours to have. It does not expire. It does not expire. The money there's no use it or lose it by a certain day. It carries over from year to year. So those are some of the benefits of having a high deductible health plan, where that's the only plan that you can match with an HSA, a health savings account. Now, is having a high deductible health plan better than having a PPO plan? Well, it all depends. A high deductible health plan has a lower premium. You have a lower monthly premium, but you do have a higher deductible. And you have to meet that certain dollar amount before the insurance will cover either 80% and you pay 20%, and then once you meet the next level, you get 100%, and the insurance is covered the 100%, and you are paying $0 out of pocket. But you do have a lower premium. So your monthly premium is lower. So if you are someone who typically doesn't require a lot of medical care, you just go into the doctor for the basics, where you just go for your annual physical exam, you get your mammogram, you get your well woman exam, you get a flu shot, then having a high deductible health plan might be a good plan to have. Now, if you are someone who does go to the doctor a lot, you have a lot of medical care that you need, that require a lot of medical care, where you have to go to the doctor a lot for a lot of visit. The PPO plan, having a traditional plan, does have a higher premium, but your deductible is lower. And if you want an individual that say, I don't mind paying that extra money towards my premium, so that way when I go to the doctor, I can have a lower deductible, I would rather do that versus paying the lower premium and then having to meet those deductible before the plan will start contributing or will kick in. I would rather do that. So it all depends on the individual. If you rather pay, maybe you go to the doctor, you have a high deductible health plan, maybe 1 year you do not require anything more than just your basics preventive screening. And like I said, you can also contribute towards your HSA. You can put money toward the HSA in the event that 1 year you do require to go to the doctor for more than just your preventive screening. You could have that money put aside to pay for those expenses. I personally was in a high deductible health plan at one time, and the reason why I chose the high deductible health plan when I did was the employer that I was working for contributed towards my HSA account. At the time I was in a family plan, I believe that I was getting $2,400 for the family plan from the employer. I think eventually it went down to $2,000, but in any case, I was getting that funding from the employer towards my my HSA account. And also, I'm asthmatic and my husband is a diabetic, and that plan that I was in covered all my husband's diabetic medication at no cost to me, and all my asthma medications was covered as no cost to me because they were considered preventive drugs. That was just the way the company negotiated the plan when we negotiated the plan. So during the negotiation process, that was one of the things that was included into the plan. Doesn't necessarily mean that all high deductible health plan is gonna have where you get those prescription drugs at no cost, but that was what was offered in the plan that I was in. So all the prescription drugs for his diabetes were covered at no cost, and all the prescription drugs for my asthma was covered at no cost. And in addition to that, I was getting the HSA funding from the employer. So it made more sense for me at the time to choose that high deductible health plan because I was getting a lower premium. I was getting all my medication was covered at no cost. And I was getting the money from my employer. With my asthma, I go to the doctor once a year. For my pulmonologist once a year. I might go twice a year if I had to do a breathing test. But at the time, I would just use the money that was in the HSA account to pay for that, and whatever my husband was paying for anything extra besides going to the regular visit, we would just use the HSA funding for that. But our medication was covered. So at the time, it made more sense for me to be in that high deductible health plan. Doesn't mean like all employers gonna have that offer, but that was what was offered for me at the time, so I went with the high deductible health plan. I had enough money in my HSA account after I left the employer where I was still using my HSA account to pay for prescriptions for up to 3 years until I ran out of money. So that was one of the reasons why I chose the high deductible health plan when I did at the time. Another thing that advice that I can give to you guys is whether you have a high deductible health plan or a regular traditional plan, I will not go to a hospital unless it's a life and death situation. I will go to an urgent care because a lot of services that you get from a hospital, you can get that same service at a urgent care for a lower fee. Unless, if I'm not able to go to my primary care doctor for whatever reason, I will go to an urgent care if I need to go. With my asthma, with my I've had asthma attack, I would go to urgent care, because the same thing they do for me at the hospital, they do the exact same thing for me at an urgent care, which is usually they do a breathing test, they give me a steroid shot, and they prescribe me steroid for the next 5 days and tell me to follow up with my primary care doctor. They do the exact same thing at the hospital, except it costs me an arm and a leg when I go to, if I have to go to a hospital, and I get that service for at an urgent care. I think when I had my high deductible health plan urgent care, I paid $100 for to get that service. So of course, if you're having a medical emergency, you're having chest pain, you having a stroke, go to the hospital. Do not, don't try to worry about your insurance bill. Your life comes first. So definitely, you having a life-threatening emergency, you go to the hospital. But you will find a lot of services that are offered at a hospital for anything else that's not life-threatening. You could get the services at a hospital, at the urgent care. I've cut my finger, I've gone to an urgent care, and I've gotten stitches. My son at one time closed his finger at the door at school and took him to the urgent care. They did x-rays. They had an x-ray machine. They did x-rays. You could see it wasn't broken. They tied it up for him. Another time he was in school, he playing gym. Somebody fell while he was doing football. Somebody fell on his ankle. I had to go pick him up from school. I took him to the urgent care. They did an x-ray, was able to see there's no broken bones, and I was able to sign him up to go do physical therapy. But I saved a lot of money taking him to an urgent care versus if I had to go take him to a hospital. So of course, by all means, any life-threatening emergency, you go to the hospital. But anything that's not life-threatening and you can't go to your regular primary care doctor, go to an urgent care. You'll be surprised some of the services you can get from there that is going to cost you less money. So again, like I said, whether or not you choose a traditional plan or a high deductible health plan, it all depends on that individual. You just have to evaluate what's best for you, what's best for your family. If you do not mind paying that lower premium, definitely if you're a younger person, healthy person, the high deductible health plan might be a good plan to have, because you're only going for your preventive screening, which is already covered at no cost. You're not paying any extra money out of pocket for that, and your premium is lower. So of course, that definitely would work for someone who's healthy, young, healthy, don't require a lot of doctor's visit. Somebody who has a lot of doctor's visit and said, you know what, I'd rather pay that extra money for my premium and having a lower deductible, not having to pay all that money when I go to the doctor. But if you're paying the money up front towards your premium, and you're paying less when you go to the doctor, or you're paying less towards your premium and you're having the higher deductible and paying more if you have to use your medical, if you have to get any other services done besides your preventive screening. I hope this video is helpful, is helpful to someone. That's everything I have regarding a high deductible health plan. Whether or not which plan to choose is all depend on the individual. You just have to evaluate and see which plan is best for you. Remember, what works for one may not work for someone else. It's up to the individual. It's up to what's best for you and what's best for your family. This is all I have. That's all the information I have for now. Do not forget to like, share, comment, and subscribe. I will catch you on my next video. Until next time. Bye.